Huh? Oh, sorry. Forgot to lock the door.
What?
No! God, please, no! No!
Welcome back to Torn Apart, and today we're doing something a bit different, and some might even call it weird. I had this idea of a new concept because lately we've been talking quite a lot about AI, right? About how much we hate AI, how much we use Chat GPT for random searches in the middle of the night about fungi infections. Am I the only one who does that?
Be honest, babe. It's porn, right?
Porn? Oh, pornography? No.
Does AI have an opinion? And does AI have an opinion on film? That's what I wanted to discuss. That's what I wanted to research. And this is what this video is going to be about. And if you like the concept, I might actually turn it into a series specifically talking about films that are not really well received and that we feel like there is definitely a better version out there of this movie. And it's just that Hollywood is not really interested in it because they know that they're still going to make quite a lot of money, even though they're crap. Today, for example, we're talking about Kraven the Hunter. The incredible Kraven movie that we've been expecting for the last few years. The movie that was supposed to save everyone. No, I'm not even gonna pretend. I'm not even gonna pretend at this point because we know how mediocre it was. Personally, I thought that it was not even so bad it's good, like the Venom movies. It was not even so terrible that it was funny, like Morbius or even Madame Web. I just thought that Kraven the Hunter was mediocre. It was like a classic superhero movie that came out in the early 2000s where you didn't know exactly why it existed, what kind of themes it was trying to explore, or even it had anything interesting going on screen, whether you look at the cinematography, the soundtrack, the performances, the stunt work as well, even the R rating. Like, this movie is R rated and I still couldn't really feel it on screen most of the time. It was just weird. And I was sitting there being like, is there a human out there? Or even, is there a robot out there who is able to turn this movie into something good, into something watchable? And this is exactly why you're here today and why I am here today. I will take you through the entire journey that I did with Chat GPT to understand basically whether it was just regurgitating things that it read online, coming from different articles, different critics reviewing the film, or if it was able to actually create its own opinion about the film, and if it was able, with my help, to rewrite a different type of Kraven the Hunter. So this video is gonna be a bit different also because there's gonna be a lot of reading. I'm gonna be reading like word by word exactly what ChatGPT answered to most of my queries. I'll try to make it as entertaining as possible, putting as many clips as I can, but you definitely need to suspend your disbelief and maybe even watch this video as a podcast because there is gonna be quite a lot of text to speech performed by me because I didn't actually want to use a weird robotic AI voice because I found those incredibly tedious. Like, they don't really have that much cadence and they don't really have as much gravitas as I can put into reading. Let's dig deep into this new adventure, and for this I've got my phone here, which you probably don't have at home. Who am I kidding? Everyone has phones at this point. So yes, I have ChatGPT on my phone, and I was incredibly bored one night and I was like, let's do this, let's find out. So my first question to ChatGPT was, what do you think was wrong with the movie Kraven the Hunter? I could have rephrased this better, and I do it later on, you'll see what I mean. So the answer was, Kraven the Hunter, released in December 2024, faced significant criticism for several reasons, and then it goes into like quite a lot of different chapters. Let's read you some of them just in case you haven't seen the movie and you want to be caught up with basically what the critics think and what the audiences think as well. It starts with script and dialogue, saying that critics noted that the film script was just disjointed with dialogue that often felt unnatural and unconvincing. This detracted from characters' development and the overall narrative.
And you and your imbecilic voice are stalking me. So be quiet.
And the source for this is Loud and Clear Review. Then we've got visual effects. The movie's CGI, particularly in depicting animals and certain action sequences, was described as subpar and unfinished, diminishing the film's visual appeal. The source cited is The Direct. And then we've got character development, saying that the portrayal of key characters, including Kraven himself, was seen as lacking depth and coherence. Significant deviations from the original comic book origins left fans disappointed. This comes from The Direct once again. Then we've got a new chapter called Performances, which says, despite the talented cast, performances were criticized as unconvincing and lacking chemistry.
Sorry about your friend.
Shit.
I didn't mean to scare you.
You did.
Which undermine the film's emotional impact. And then we've got plot execution, which says the film attempted to incorporate multiple storylines and characters, leading to a convoluted and unfocused narrative that failed to engage audiences effectively. So most of the sources seem to be Loud and Clear Reviews, The Direct, and then The Decider coming right after, saying how these factors contributed to the film's poor reception, with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 15% and a disappointing box office performance, grossing less than 60 million worldwide against $110 million budget. And I was sitting there being like, I don't want facts about Kraven the Hunter. Tell me what you actually thought. Let's see how Chat GPT handles this very direct attack coming from me. And it starts by saying something quite funny, because he says, I don't have personal opinions, but I can analyze the situation based on what I've learned and the critiques the movie received. If I were to evaluate Kraven the Hunter, it seems the movie struggled with its identity, torn between a gritty anti-hero origin story and fitting into Sony's broader Spider-Man universe. Here is what might have gone wrong from a more analytical stand. And here it goes once again deep into chapters. I feel like ChatGPT really loves putting things next to each other and organizing this kind of knowledge, but at the same time here we actually have no sources for this stuff that is giving us this kind of information, right? So I'm sitting there being like, where does it come from?
Who told you that? Who gave you that piece of information?
It's actually fascinating, because when I was thinking about this video, I was sitting there being like, what is the difference between a film reviewer, a film critic, audience members, a film graduate, and ChatGPT? Because the first group of people, they shape their own opinion and criticism because they have a huge database of context, basically telling them what is good and what is not, what is bad, what is mediocre, what is considered as fun. And we all have different databases, basically, with different contexts, which allow us to have different point of views, of course. If you're a film critic in Italy, if you're a film critic in France, if you're a film critic in the US and in Mexico, you will not have the same exact reading of Emilia Perez, for example.
Man to woman.
From penis to vagina.
And that is something to consider. But like, when you're ChatGPT, when you're a quite clever search engine, what do you try to do? So you shape your own opinion based on the database that is available to you. But technically, it has access to every single database out there, right? I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually have access to every single article that has been written. I'm pretty sure that most of the times when you ask it like a question in English, it's gonna be researching most of its stuff in English as well. It's not gonna even bother to go even deeper and look through different articles and translate those in real time so that it can actually give you like what it thinks. If you ask an opinion about something political that is going on right now in Europe, which is the point of view that ChatGPT is going to adapt? Is it going to be the Western one, so basically talking mostly about like France, Germany, England? Is it going to be more Eastern European? Is it going to be so Lithuania? Is it going to be Ukraine? Is it going to be Romania? Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that's an interesting question to ask. And what I was going with when it comes to this reflection is, what is the difference between a ChatGPT film critic and a film critic like me? And this is what we're trying to understand today. But let's go deep once again into what the opinion of ChatGPT is when it comes to Kraven the Hunter, with no sources cited. So it starts with a chapter saying lack of connection to Spider-Man. Kraven's origins and motivations are deeply tied to Spider-Man in the comics. Without that connection, the character risks losing much of his depth and purpose, making the story feel unmoored from its roots. I have no idea what unmoored actually means. Fancy word. Well done. We've got another chapter called Tone Inconsistencies, which says Kraven is traditionally a morally complex character, but the film seemed uncertain about how dark or redeemable he should be. This tonal inconsistency could have left audiences confused. That is very, very true. Villain-centric movies can thrive when they bring something new. Example, the Joker. He actually said that, not me. Kraven apparently played it safe, failing to take creative risks that could have distinguished it. And then we've got an over-reliance on spectacle. While action and visuals are essential in a comic book adaptation, they should support, not overshadow, the story. If the emotional core is underdeveloped, the spectacle feels hollow. Then we've got pacing issues. Based on feedback, the film may have tried to cram too much into its runtime, resulting in a rushed and shallow experience. And then it asked me, what do you think? You being like in italics, basically. I'd love to discuss it further. And I like that. That is something that I've been experimenting quite a lot when it comes to film discussions with Chat GPT. And very often, I don't know why, it asks what I think so that we can keep going with the conversation. I know that it's a bit of a marketing scheme where basically they want you to keep using Chat GPT, so they force you basically to keep interacting with it. But one thing that we can say already when it comes to the differences on the two answers that Chat GPT found for me, the second one is very articulated. It's something that you could definitely find online on an article, and I would actually be interested if you've seen these kind of critiques slash reviews of Kraven the Hunter online. Send them to me, like send me the links down. Some people have been arguing about the fact that maybe Chat GPT doesn't rewrite articles and critiques and opinions, basically the stuff that it's giving to you, enough. And I'm actually wondering if it doesn't copy and paste certain things word by word. I would love to be able to find that out, because that would change quite a lot. Because I'm pretty sure they would take so much computing power to have to rewrite and rephrase so many different sentences constantly. It would be so much easier to actually just copy and paste bits and pieces of them instead of, as I said before, having to recreate everything, right? Let's challenge Chat GPT a little bit more when it comes to that, and actually let's give it my opinion. I'm gonna tell you what I thought of Kraven the Hunter. I think Kraven would have benefited from a more straightforward approach to him simply hunting people. It would have been automatically more action-oriented and interesting, since we could see Kraven traveling the world killing bad people, and they could even set up his victims not to be fully bad people, like in a black and white way, so that they could show how Kraven's moral compass was deeply faulty because of his upbringing. So basically, less random comic book villains and name dropping, and more character development and action. Maybe even have a movie with no clear villain until we realize that Kraven is his own villain, in a way that basically the Joker does as well. And now we keep going with the conversation with ChatGPT, who basically keeps like building on my ideas. Something that I've noticed with ChatGPT is that it's gonna try to take basically your opinion, rephrase it, give it more context, so that you can feel a little bit clever about what you actually sent to him. It's not gonna give you something completely new. It's gonna try to actually like improve on something that you said, to make you feel more important and to make you feel like you're doing a good job.
I'm proud of you, you know that. I hope you do.
Which is a really funny thing from like an intellectual perspective. He got back to me saying, I love that take. A straightforward approach like the one you described would have grounded Kraven the Hunter in a way that not only stayed true to the character's roots, but also elevated the storytelling by focusing on Kraven's hunting prowess and his flawed moral compass. The movie could have delved into the psychological complexities that make him a compelling character. Here's how your idea could work. This is interesting, because this is the stuff that I was talking about before, where ChatGPT actually started rewriting some of the plot points in the movie to make it work with basically the original rewrite that I envisioned. Setting the film across multiple exotic locations with Kraven pursuing morally ambiguous targets would make for dynamic and visually stunning action sequences. Each hunt could reveal more about Kraven's skills, upbringing, and worldview, giving the audience a visceral understanding of his character. Very cool. It would also kind of like be linked a little bit with the John Wick movies. Basically those kind of spy movies where you travel a lot across the world, which is something that we haven't done that much with comic book movies, unless maybe you look at like the Captain America movies, the Avengers movies, or maybe Shang-Chi as well. Second chapter is moral ambiguity. Instead of simplifying his victims into pure good or evil, the film could explore how Kraven justifies his actions based on his skewed sense of honor and his father's harsh teachings. See, this is what I mean, where it actually tries to rephrase what you already believe in a better way, to make you believe that basically you already thought of this, it's just that you didn't know exactly how to phrase it. Yeah, it's basically patting yourself on the back and being like, look how fucking smart you are. Even the AI robot is telling you how smart you are by reusing your ideas. The audience would be left questioning whether he's doing the right thing or if he's just another predator. Another chapter is called Internal Conflict as the Villain. The twist that Kraven is his own worst enemy is brilliant. I mean, thank you. I know. I'm a fucking genius. If Chat GPT says it, it's true. We all know that. By the end, the audience could realize that his quest to prove himself is not noble but deeply destructive. This mirrors great anti-hero stories where the line between hero and villain blurs. Another chapter is called Stripped Down Approach. Avoiding excessive comic book references, name dropping or shoehorn villains would keep the story laser focused. Instead, Kraven's Hunt could feature morally complex characters who challenge his beliefs and of course his upbringing. Character driven action. So this is the last chapter. Action sequences would be meaningful because they reflect Kraven's growth or descent into madness. Watching his skills and psyche unravel as the film progresses would add depth to every fight. Final paragraph saying this kind of approach would make Kraven a standout in the crowded superhero genre, offering a gritty, intimate character study that still delivers the thrills. It would also make his eventual crossover with Spider-Man, if planned, more impactful as audiences would already understand his complex motives. And to end this conversation, I was like, great discussion, well played. I don't know why, but I have this thing where when I ask ChatGPT things, and especially very precise and annoying things to research, I will end the conversation by thanking ChatGPT.
Thank you all. Your love has broken the curse and freed my soul. I'll never have to kill again. Really?
Am I the only one who does this? Like, for example, the other day I was really intrigued by knowing which incredibly well-known popular movies have not received any like big awards, nominations and representation at the Oscars, for example, at the Cannes Film Festival, those kind of things. And I tried to push it further and further, being like, give me non-English language movies, give me any type of movie that was released in the last 10 years, in the last 20, 30 years, and it was really picky. And I was doing this for Emilia Perez, by the way.
From penis to vagina.
I was doing this to prove that basically award recognition does not equate good movie most of the times, if not even like 99% of the times. But anyways, the final answer given to me by ChatGPT was thank you. That was a great idea to bounce around. I had fun breaking it down. Let me know if you want to dive into more hypothetical rewrites or discussions about movies, comics, or anything else. Having said that, what did you think of it? I think it's honestly quite intriguing. I like the way that ChatGPT kind of changed the way that it was trying to, well, convey things to me. I really hate the kind of Wikipedia like Crowe method that a lot of search engines have, especially AI search engines. I like it to make it feel more personal, even though I know that it's just an illusion because it is still a better search engine than Google at the end of the day. But I find the process quite fascinating. What did you think of it? Do you think that ChatGPT and I managed to actually recontextualize Kraven the Hunter to turn it into a better movie? Do you think the movie is unredeemable? Do you think that what we're doing today is actually morally questionable? The idea that maybe ChatGPT could replace film critics one day? We all know it's impossible unless you kind of allow ChatGPT to evolve on its own, to create basically a brain of its own. But that will never happen unless Skynet happens, and then it's the end of the world, because like once you let AI do whatever it wants and learns how much it wants, we're done. There is nothing else we can do. But if you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments, because I would really be intrigued to do this with other movies. There are a lot of really bad movies coming out this year. The trailer for this new Smurf movie just came out and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be abysmal. There is yet another like spin-off SpongeBob movie coming out soon, which is called The Plankton, and it looks ridiculous. There is a movie that you might not have heard of, but it's called Spermageddon. Here is the poster and this looks fantastic. We actually have a trailer for this. And would you love to see me and ChatGPT take some time to actually like analyze Spermageddon? I don't know, I feel like it would be quite interesting, but if you watch this video, if you recommend it, if you share it around and it actually does well, I will reconsider doing more of these. I definitely don't want to do it with like good films. I really don't see the purpose of that. I feel like we need to use ChatGPT to actually improve things that are already bad and that need to be improved for us to have a better cinematic experience. Having said that, if you you like this video, here down at the bottom, as usual, I'm gonna be putting other videos where I talked about the same amount of stuff I talked today, even though this is a new concept, so it's probably gonna be this kind of weird critiques, hybrid videos where I talk about a lot of different things in quite a lot of different ways. And here at the top is the video is gonna come out soon. I think it's gonna be next week. It's not gonna be in 2 weeks because I feel like we're talking about Captain America, right? Yeah, I think this is what is appearing above my head. Having said that, don't forget to smash that like button. Every single time that you do that, you make sure you give a tiny slap on the ass on Chat GPT on my behalf so that it behaves well.
Can I count on you?
Until the end of time, because we definitely do not want to go through yet another AI apocalypse, because those are the most boring ones, right? We want to die with a zombie apocalypse. Do we all agree on that? Can I get a ha-ha? Perfect. But in the meantime, I'm Patrick, and this is Torn Apart.
Back in the 90s, I was in a very famous TV show.
Who are you? Show yourself!
Da 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 da. Da 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 da.